Yes, sir.
I'll try to address the 800-pound elephant in the room. Given the blowback that transpired, particularly on the part of Senate President John Alario, with regard to your testimony on Friday, if the clock could be rolled back, would the administration still proceed forward with sending out those nursing home letters?
Yes, we would. And the reason is pretty simple and basic. First, this administration's policy has been to be candid with people and not to try and hide things and delay things. We didn't think and don't think it would be fair to wait until 10 days before someone has to be removed from a nursing home to tell them that they got to get out. Secondly, the federal government requires a redetermination of eligibility. Let me back up. I don't know if I said the question was, would we roll back the clock and not send out the notices to the nursing homes? The federal government requires that when you're affecting eligibility programs, and there were 4 eligibility programs that are being affected by the budget as it left the House, when you do that, you have to make a redetermination of that individual's eligibility for Medicaid. You've got to find out if they may be eligible for some other relief that would keep them covered. And that process has to begin, and it would involve, in many cases, contacting the individuals. Rather than a simple phone call just coming out of nowhere, we felt it appropriate to give this written notice that emphasizes this may happen, not going to happen until the feds say it's going to happen, but to put them on notice that it could happen. And so that was a real important part of our consideration, that notice needed to be given. People needed to be aware of it because the redetermination was going to be made. And that was the primary motivation behind doing it. It was very carefully worded, and it was not done without a lot of careful thought as to whether or not it was the appropriate timing. I delayed it by about a week. The committees were told it would go out May 1st, but we wanted to wait a little bit longer, refine the language, and talk to CMS. Well, if it had been done for scare tactics, if it had been done for political purposes, would have sent out notices to 1 million people instead of 37,000 and told them, call your legislator to fix this. We didn't do that. We weren't playing those kind of games, but yes, we believe the notice was appropriate and was necessary. We regret having to do it because we didn't want to reach this point. It's why we had a special session earlier this year that would have avoided that eventuality if the legislature had been willing to address the revenue problem back then.
Well, then, can I have a quick follow-up? Do you totally dismiss Senator Alario's statement in that regard, that the Senate that this was premature and that the Senate was never provided with an opportunity to weigh in on its priorities that could have avoided the need for sending out those letters?
This budget, this committee took the position and had talked with their Senate colleagues. If we have to make a choice, we choose life first. You all are the ones who sent out the notice telling people you're going to be thrown out of a nursing home, that you're going to be thrown out of a hospital, you're going to lose your Medicaid card. We didn't send the notices out. You all chose to do it. You didn't give us a chance to say we're making that a priority, and that's the feeling of this committee.
It wouldn't have avoided it anyway because the bill is a work in progress as it left the House and as it left the Senate committee. And had we waited until the Senate committee may have chosen not to make cuts in Medicaid, we would have been that much closer to this potential deadline. So that's why we felt it was necessary to do it, and we hate to have to do it. We hope that it can be rescinded and never implemented and nobody's coverage is going to be threatened, but we're certainly not there yet. And when the legislature had bites at the apple last year and this year to make sure it didn't happen, they didn't bite. So we're hoping they're ready to bite come next week.
Thank you.